everyone, I'm Cassie Knuckles, and I'm the social media specialist and host of IBMC College's Videocast. In this third episode, we'll be talking to a few people who you won't see in IBMC's hallways and classrooms, but are still very important to us. After all, they're some of the people that are in charge of hiring our graduates. First up, in interviews filmed earlier this month, we'll have Tammie Strohl, a hiring manager with Summit View Internal Medicine, followed by Karissa Hall from the Greeley Endoscopy Center. They'll be answering some general questions about the healthcare industry and then talk more specifically about why this is a great time to become a medical assistant, which, if you didn't know, is a program we do teach here at IBMC. This is all coming up next, so keep watching. Well, Tammie, thank you so much for joining us. I have a few questions lined up for you today.
Awesome.
Tell us about where you work and what you do.
I work for Banner Medical Group. I am a practice manager for the primary care group. We have probably about 14 primary care clinics in the area.
Wow.
I started as a medical assistant with Banner Health. I've been a medical assistant for 28 years.
What does your organization primarily do?
From birth to end of life. Anywhere from obstetrical care to hospice care. So we've got all of that in between. Lots of specialists, anywhere from cardiology to cancer treatment to ortho to family practice to behavioral health. We've got all of the tools and the tricks that we need to take care of someone's entire
life.
Yep.
Nice.
Entire life.
Do you currently have a need for more medical assistants?
We do. We have noticed a decline in medical assistants in the area, medical assistants in the schools, things like that. I just think with the changes in healthcare and the last 3 years have put in a lot of stress on people to kind of take a look at what they really want to do. And we're getting new insights coming in, people that are realizing I want to be in the healthcare industry because of all the things I saw during COVID and whatnot. And then you've got some that are saying, I think it's probably time for me to transition out. And medical assistants being one of the biggest puzzle pieces within our clinics, we desperately need to keep that level up and make sure that we can provide the best patient care for that.
Has your organization hired graduates from IBMC before?
We have, yes, and we've been very fortunate with the hires that we have had. I myself personally have it as an expectation with my staff that we bring students in. We all started there. One of the interesting things that we do is if they were to come to my clinic, for example, my family practice clinic, but they have kind of a desire to be in obstetrics, I can get with that obstetrics later and we can do a few kind of trial days where they can try out a couple of other areas or whatnot, ensure that demographic is really what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Plus it's like a working interview. You really get to work with the person and you get to know their habits, and it makes for a long relationship.
Yeah. And you're not just stuck in the same position there either. Like, exactly. You give them the opportunity to go where they want to go.
Exactly. I have had them assigned up to probably 5 different locations at times where they can just go check it out and try it out, even if it's a day.
What traits do you look for when hiring new medical assistants?
We definitely look for someone who wants to learn, someone who is motivated to step outside of their comfort zone without direction, that you're willing to walk in and just soak up everything that you've got, that you're asking questions. And most of our physicians are educators at heart, and so they'll even answer your questions, and that you're there, you're present, you're professional while you're there. We will do whatever we can to give you the best outcome.
Do those with career training from a vocational college or trade school have an advantage over someone who, say, goes to a 4-year college?
I would say yes, in the regard that oftentimes instructors have worked in that field before, and so they have hands-on, history and applicability and just workflows that they know and they understand. 4-year colleges are fantastic, but a lot of them are professor driven and they don't have a lot of that real world application to it. Yeah. And sometimes when we get our MAs into our clinics, they teach us things. because things change and they grow, they modify, and they come in and they say, hey, we learned a different way to do this in class and it's really easy. And so it's nice to have that hometown feel, I guess, of someone that's gone to a trade school.
Why is it a good idea to pursue a career in the medical field?
I think it opens a lot of doors. You're not walking in and forced to stay at whatever level, whatever position that you're coming in as. I've had medical assistants that have decided they want to go into referrals, or they want to go into an authorization type role or whatever. It will open up a lot of different areas for you and a lot of different ways that you can just find out about yourself.
What roles and job functions do the medical assistants perform?
We have anywhere from regular clinical MAs that you're coming in to see your provider and their assistant is there that's bringing you in and doing all of your history check. We have medical assistants that are on our CAT team, our clinical agent team, who work from home and deal with a lot of the phone calls coming into the call center that they may be able to answer, that we don't have to transfer that person to 3 different places if they can answer the question right there as it is. They manage our vaccines, both for our state clients and for our private health insurance clients.
Okay.
They manage our point of care testing. We have 2 ladies right now for our 14 primary care clinics that go around quarterly and make sure that documentation is on par. We're keeping up with our regulatory guidelines and things like that for those. They can be coordinators, which are basically a right hand to a supervisor or a manager. They start to build those leadership capabilities.
Is there opportunity for someone working as a medical assistant to grow and expand their career?
Yes, 100%. Myself as an example, as I've said, I was a medical assistant for 28 years, started with Banner in 2014, and by the beginning of 2018, I had gone through the process to become a direct leader within the clinics.
And then is there any advice you would like to give to somebody who is potentially seeking a career in the medical field?
Oh my goodness, lots of advice. Do it. Just do it. I mean, honestly, if I could sit down and write some of the things that I've gone through in the last 28 years, it's really cool. It's really cool. I've seen my pediatric patients back in the day are now parents. And so seeing that growth and that life change and that cycle, and even the hard times, even during the COVID times and everything like that, stepping out of my leadership role and doing COVID swabs and doing vaccines or education or whatnot. There are just so many things that you can do if you have the drive and you have the motivation and you want to make it your craft. Then it's endless. You have so many rewards throughout doing this type of a career, and it gives you a lot of opportunity. We've had multiple MAs in my time that have decided to go to RN school. They're an MA for 10 years or whatnot, and they're like, I want to take this further, and they take it further and they excel and they do amazing. But they got that groundwork, that functional foundation of, yes, this is what I want to do. This is really exciting for me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Words of wisdom and advice. Yeah, it's been great. So
thank you.
Sounds like a really good field to be in.
It is. It's a good field. There's lots of opportunities, and there's lots of healthcare systems out there. I mean, we would love everyone to choose Banner, of course, because that's where my heart lies. But there are so many opportunities out there.
Yeah.
It is one of those very multiple positions.
Yeah. And needed. Yeah. It is absolutely needed.
Extremely needed. We need our RN staff in the hospitals working with our critical people, but our clinics cannot function without MAs. We need them, and they are very valued.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Karissa. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. Well, we're just going to get right into the questions. So,
Sure.
Where do you work, and can you tell us a little bit about what you do there?
I work for Centers for Gastroenterology, and I am the clinical nurse manager for our 3 locations in Fort Collins, Greeley, and Loveland.
Nice. Do you have medical assistants that work at your practices?
We have a lot of medical assistants. In fact, that makes up most of our clinical staff that we have. We do have a few LPNs, but mostly we have medical assistants that make up our clinical staff.
Well, the next question is about how many medical assistants do you have employed currently? So, if, you could give us an estimated number, maybe?
Oh gosh, I would say at least 25. It could be more, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's still a pretty good number between the 3.
Yeah.
So, do you have a need for more medical assistants?
Always.
We
are growing very quickly in our locations. We're always looking for more staff. There's always a turnover. There's always people that are growing and expanding their careers and moving on. And so there's always a need. Healthcare is ever changing and growing too. We always have listings for staff, and so I don't think that's something that's ever going to change.
Okay. There's just plenty of opportunities for people. Why do you think that there is such a shortage in medical assistants and other healthcare workers right now?
The last few years have been challenging, obviously, for healthcare. I think a lot of people have left the healthcare field, and I think some are maybe nervous to enter the healthcare field because of the last few years. And again, healthcare it grows so rapidly that the education required to get into the field takes more time. Mm-hmm. And if you want to be good at that, then you really have to involve yourself completely and do a good job of learning everything there is to learn. I think there's just that natural evolution of the field itself. So I don't think, that healthcare is ever going to slow down as far as the need goes. So it's if you want to get into a career field that's always in demand, this is the one to do it.
All right. Have you guys hired from IBMC College before?
We have, actually, yeah. We've gone to a lot of the open houses here. We've met a lot of the students. We've hired some straight from the school, and then some have come to us after they've been out of the school for a while and gone on to different positions and then come to us later on.
Do people with career training from a vocational college or trade school have advantage over somebody who, say, does not go to a trade school or vocational college?
I think it really depends on the individual, especially at the medical assistant level. It really is about what you put into the education you receive.
Absolutely.
If you devote yourself to learning the material and really are patient-focused and dedicated to the profession itself, you can take yourself as far as you want to go. It doesn't matter what type of classroom you're in. It's about the teacher that you have and about the amount of time you put into the material that's presented to you.
It's just about drive and passion.
Yeah, it really is. That's healthcare in and of itself. Is if you're getting into a profession because of the amount of money you think you might make, that is not the reason to get into the profession, because that only takes you so far in a career.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's not going to matter to you anymore.
Yeah.
And of course you have to make a living, and
of course,
and so you have to take that into account. But if you don't love what you do, at the end of the day, you're going to burn out really quickly, especially in healthcare, because it is mentally exhausting sometimes and physically exhausting sometimes. And if you don't care about the patients you're taking care of, then why do it?
Yeah. So what traits do you look for when you're hiring new medical assistants?
I think dependability is very important. Flexibility. Healthcare is a rapidly changing environment, so we need someone who is flexible and can adjust to even changes in the electronic medical records, which are always being updated, and passionate about what they do. Very patient focused.
What roles and job functions do the medical assistants perform in your business?
Pretty wide variety, actually. in what we do in my practice is a care coordinator type role. So we don't do a lot of procedures in the office. We're not like a family practice, so you're not doing casting and vaccinations and things. We do some injections, but it's mostly caring for that patient over the phone and following up on procedures and medication refills and taking care of them, with results from procedures and things like that. So it's a little bit different than a typical family practice or primary care role where you're not really hands-on. We do see patients in office, so you're still doing the rooming and the weights and vitals and things like that. But then we also have, prior authorizations for medications that some of our MAs will take care of. So it varies quite a bit.
Okay.
And there is a lot of room for growth, and so it just depends on what type of role you're looking for, but there is a lot of variation to what we do.
Okay. Can you give us a few reasons why it's a good idea to pursue a career in the medical field?
There's a lot of room for growth. If you start out as a medical assistant and you realize, that you really do love what you're doing and you want to go further, you can always go back and do some more schooling and become an LPN or an RN or, the sky's the limit when it comes to education and healthcare. So becoming a medical assistant's a really good first step to find out if this is really your passion and what you want to do. But even if you don't go beyond that schooling, there's a lot of different specialties you can learn. So if you come in and you start, for example, in GI, like what I do, and you decide, this is great for a few years and now I want to learn something new, and then you go into orthopedics or you go into family practice, or you can just learn so many different things and really broaden your knowledge.
Well, you kind of answered my third question of, is there room to grow within this field? So
oh, sure.
Yeah. You pretty much answered that already. Is there any advice you would give to somebody who is seeking a career to be a medical assistant?
Really look at the curriculum of what you're going to be learning and make sure it's a good education at a good place that has teachers that care and are willing to invest in your education.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Of course. We really enjoyed having you in, so thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
We want to give a huge shout out to Tammie and Karissa for spending time with us. And for those of you watching, if you're considering a career in medical assisting, go to our website at ibmc.edu to find out why it's an amazing profession to get into. So that's all for this episode. You can see past episodes on our YouTube channel and on our website. Check back soon for more content, and thank you for watching.